7 of my egg freezing, hormones for egg freezing. This is the first day I've actually been able to record anything because my phone was completely full. I kind of wanted to talk about my whole journey and how it went, where I went, my experience, but I'll get you caught up with everything so far. So I'm on my way right now to Mount Sinai. I have a follow-up at 7:20 in the morning. They usually do their appointments really, really early so that people can get in and out before work. And I'm on day 7. So the way that it all worked was I did some preliminary blood work and then I had to wait for my period. And once I got my period, I called them, I let them know, and then they gave me 10 days of birth control. So they can either do an estrogen prime or a birth control prime. I'm not sure in which situations they would pick estrogen, but for me, they picked the combined oral contraceptive. So I used LS 21. And I took it for 10 days, which they told me was the minimum number of days that you can take it for. From my understanding, the reason why you take that a couple days after you start your period is because it prevents your body from picking like the chosen one follicle. So it's not like your body's picking one follicle to grow one egg to have one baby, or if say you were having twins, 2 follicles, or one follicle that has 2 eggs in it, or one follicle that has 1 egg in it that becomes 2 eggs and splits off. All that to say that it prevents your body from like choosing one follicle, because the goal in freezing your eggs is to have as many follicles as possible containing as many eggs as possible. So I did 10 days of birth control prime, which they said was the minimum number of days, and then that ended on a Monday, and then on the Saturday, so 5 days, or 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th day afterwards, they told me to come back in for blood work and ultrasound. They did a bunch of blood work, did like a ultrasound, and it's not just the kind of ultrasound that goes on top of your stomach, it's like, it's in there, which is interesting, to say the least. But yeah, they do an ultrasound, they do blood work, and then based on what they see there, they make sure that the follicles are like, there is no chosen one and everything's okay. And then I started on a medication to increase, actually should know what it does. I don't actually know. I will look that up and I'll let you guys know. I was on something called gonal F, foliotropin. I think what its goal is to make you have as many follicles as possible. So it's like a follicle stimulating hormone. Maybe it's FSH, but basically they told me to take that, and it was really easy to take, to be honest. In my opinion, it was kind of like an insulin pen. So you attach a needle to a pre-filled pen, you inject the dose in your stomach once a night at 9 p.m. was when I did it, and you do that for 4 days every night. Yeah, so on Monday I finished my birth control. Saturday I went in for my first ultrasound and blood work. The ultrasound blood work was good. I started my medication, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I did the same, just the gonal F. So that's the pre-filled pen, once a night at bedtime, or like 9 o'clock. And then on Wednesday morning, I went in for a follow-up, and blood work, ultrasound, met with the nurse. There was lots of little eggies, which was exciting, and like obviously makes you feel good. So I did that. And then when I got a call later on Wednesday afternoon, and they basically told me that personally my estrogen levels, like I'm responding very, very well to the therapy, and almost too well, which I kind of figured because my labs were really good. And I'm sorry, this is a trigger warning or something if yours didn't, and I hope that your care team really takes care of you if that wasn't the case for you, and I'm sorry if that wasn't the case for you. But just in my experience, my numbers were really good. And maybe for more people who are thinking of doing egg freezing, maybe your numbers will be really good too, because maybe you can think about doing it like when you turn 30. But anyways, all that to say that I was responding really well to the therapy. So they actually told me to reduce my dose of gonal F. They were like a little bit concerned that I might get OHSS, which is ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. And that's when there's like extra fluid, I guess, in your ovaries or around the area. They actually told me to eat chips as a way to manage it. Well, not just chips, but like salty and protein. Salty stuff and protein. They told me to decrease my dose, and they also gave me a second drug called orgalutron. And orgalutron's goal is to prevent you from ovulating those eggs. Because if your body's like, ooh, lots of eggs, I want to have lots of babies, it will try to release those eggs. So the point of orgalutron is to keep the eggs basically in your system, like in the ovaries for longer, and in the follicles, and not allow them to be ovulated. So I started taking that, and that injection sucks. I mean, I'm not scared of needles, and I'm also not scared of pain, but that sucked. So if you use an ice pack, definitely helps. Like the second night I used the ice pack and I didn't even feel it. And even afterwards, I kind of iced it for a minute or two because I felt like, once the ice wore off, I could feel it a little bit. So I would suggest definitely icing your stomach. So yeah, last night was my second dose of orgalutron and my sixth dose of gonal F and the second day at the reduced dose. And they asked me to come in early. Actually, my next follow-up was supposed to be on Sunday, and Sunday was kind of like decision day. So I guess once you've been on the therapy for enough days, they can decide, okay, either the eggs are ready or the follicles are ready, we're going to go in for surgery. And then you get something called a trigger injection, which is like sometimes 2 different medications, and you take those trigger injections, and that like tells your body, okay, like it's go time. And between like after that, I think like 36 hours after that is when you have to go in for surgery. I'm a little bit early, so I can talk to you for a little bit longer. They brought me in early because my levels were a little bit high, but I'm supposed to go back in on Sunday, and that's a decision day. And I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm feeling good. Well, that's a lie. I'm feeling good overall, but that new injection really, like the first night, I could not sleep well at all. My stomach was feeling more bloated. And I was just like uncomfortable. My head's kind of been hurting a little bit, but not too bad. Like really, all things considered. If you're busy, if you're working, if you're doing something, then I feel like you don't really notice it as much. So like I haven't really been paying attention to it, during the day as much, but definitely overnight, like I felt it the first night. Last night was actually fine, although I did wake up kind of early, like around 4 or 5 in the morning, and just didn't feel like going back to bed. But that could be other factors too. I mean, I don't know. Could be something else. Didn't go for a walk yesterday. Maybe not as active. Whatever. So all that to say that, like overall, it's like minimal side effects for me, but I am feeling a little bit more uncomfortable. I also obviously am just like, j'ai hâte de savoir. Like I want to know. I'm anxious to know what's gonna happen, what the schedule's gonna be like, and everyone's like, oh, like my mom, sisters are like, oh, when's surgery gonna be? What's the day? Do they tell you? Do you know when you're gonna be doing this? Are you gonna take time off work? Like all this stuff. And the answer is I don't know, because on Sunday they're gonna tell me, and I think it's day by day. I don't even know if I'm gonna have to go in again tomorrow, depending on the blood work and ultrasound today. I don't know if they can even do the surgery early. What if they're like today, they're like, oh, it's happening Sunday. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. But I feel good. I feel like they're monitoring me well. I have some really good friends to support me. My family's coming down to visit me and like take care of me. So I think you can do this alone, in the sense of like, you can get to your appointments, you can do your injections, you can do all the physical stuff by yourself. But when it comes to that emotional part, I think it's really nice to have somebody who's there for you, even if they're not there in person. Obviously on the day of the surgery, you need to have someone in person with you, but leading up to it, just knowing that someone's there, someone to like call at 9 o'clock when you're doing the injection, someone who will buy you coconut water in the middle of the night if you need it. Not that anyone did that, I did that myself, but still, like having someone there would be amazing. I've never bought coconut water ever in my whole life, side note, but they said it's good for preventing OHSS because it has a lot of electrolytes and draws out extra fluid from your body. So it's better to have that than have water. There's a handout that one of my friends shared with me, and I can share it here as well. I mean, it's not medical advice or anything, but if it's helpful for you, then this is what their clinic gave them. My clinic didn't give me anything. They just said eat a lot of salt. So eat salt, I guess. But yeah, so that's my experience so far. I'm going in, like I said, for my check-in now. The people at Mount Sinai have been really, really nice. The lab person is awesome. He's super, he's a really nice person. I did get bruising after my second blood work, but that's kind of standard for me. Like I bruise very easily after blood work. The first and the third time, no issues. The first 2 ultrasound techs I had were really great. They were super gentle. The third one was a little bit more like down to business, and that one was a little more uncomfortable. So I hope I don't get her today, but if I do, maybe I can just tell her to be a bit more gentle. I feel awkward saying these things to medical professionals. Well, not even medical professionals. I feel awkward saying these things to people. But the ultrasound probe is going in places that it's never been before. So I feel like it's justified. I think it just, you get into your work, you get into your flow, you're in your mind. Sometimes you don't really realize some of these things, and it's okay. I still haven't met a doctor, which I know some of the reviews online were kind of like, I went to this place and I never saw a doctor, and people are not really happy about that, and I totally get it. I think if I was in a stressful headspace and I was really trying to have kids and this was an IVF cycle, maybe the doctors would be involved then, but if this was my experience for that, I feel like I would be pretty, I don't know. I get it. The nurses are super knowledgeable, and I love nurses. It's nothing against the profession. It's just when you're feeling stressed out, it's nice to talk to the person making the final call. So the nurses are able to communicate the information. They're able to gather the information. They're able to do, the ultrasound techs are able to get, they're the best person to do those jobs because they have the time, the resources, the training. But the person ultimately writing that prescription is the doctor or the nurse practitioner. And it would be nice to see them face to face just once, to be like, hey, I'm involved in your care. I want what's best for you, and I see you and I hear you, and I'm here for you. It's just nice to have that. So you don't get that here, at least not for egg freezing, and at least not in my experience. But I mean, it's okay. You get over it, you get through it, you live and you learn, you have family to support you, you can do your own research. I'm also in a bit more of a privileged position because I'm working in healthcare and I'm able to research these things from credible resources. So all the people I've interacted with were really good. It's a good experience. I feel like they're really taking care of me. They're watching and they're monitoring, and yeah, everything's been they haven't charged me for anything yet, except for the one blood test at the beginning. It was $85 for, I believe, is my AMH test. It tells you about fertility. But everything else has been covered. There is obviously going to be a big fee at the end, which I'll go over in another video. But it's nice to not have someone breathing down your neck about payment. My medications are going to be covered by my insurance, but I had to pay for them first. So that's something to keep in mind if you don't have private insurance. So far, I've spent about $2,500 on medications. The first 4 pens were $1,000. Sorry, the first 2 pens, first 4 injections or first 2 pens were $1,000, and then I got 2 more pens and the Orgalutron 4 pens because each one is its own pen, and that was $1,500. So $1,000 the first time, $1,500 the second time, so $2,500 so far. And then the trigger injections are also going to have a cost. So I don't know how much those are. I'm guessing in total the meds will be somewhere around $3,500. That's my guess, but I'll confirm with you guys once I know. And then of course the surgery and the medications that they're going to give you in surgery and all that stuff. There's a cost associated. So it's not free, but it is something for your future to think about. And yeah, so if I can take any videos, I will take you along with me to Mount Sinai. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Bye.